So most of you should have received a pack like this containing some goodies, some tea and cookies, a book, a souvenir of the JHC, and a bookmark with a special message for you. So if you haven't already put your kettle on, go do that now. And I'm going to break open a cup of tea. What do I feel like? I'm having, I think uplifting green is what I need right now. So we delivered them, the staff and a team of us delivered them to everyone who had RSVP'd by try booking by yesterday or the day before. So I'm sorry if any of you didn't get one. Just let us know after the event. I'm sorry, but we tried our best, and some of you have very secure apartments, so we did struggle to get through security, but just know that we did try. And we weren't sure what sort of tea you drink, so hence a pack with a selection of teas. So what's going to happen this morning? It's very unusual, not our normal lunchtime gathering. But first of all, the co-presidents and then I will provide a bit of a snapshot of 2020, and it's going to be interspersed with some beautiful messages from survivors. And your mics are all muted, but we will allow later in the gathering, at the end of the formalities, we know that you love to schmooze, so we're going to try and put you into virtual breakout rooms, and we'll see how that goes. It's all a bit experimental, as is everything in 2020. So thanks for your patience. So this has been a most incredible year in so many ways, and I know that many of you have had significant challenges that you've had to endure. Individually, it's been tough, really tough. Not for everyone, but for some of you. And our thoughts have been with you as you have gone through these trials. We're a community, the JHC community, and we try to support each other. Yes, we're working to build a bigger and better facility, a beautiful world-class museum, but our beating heart, our core, is this wonderful community that I see before me. And the more separated and isolated we have become during COVID, the more our understanding and appreciation of each other has grown. We suddenly understood profoundly how much we needed each other. So on that note, I'd like to hear from some of our survivors and their special messages, which have been collected in the last few weeks by our digital media producer extraordinaire, Robbie Simons, capably assisted by Ray Silverstein and Lena Fishman. So Robbie, it's over to you.
And I'm glad I have the opportunity to say something, because I'm very grateful to a few people there, and I would like to really mention their names because they probably helped to save my life. One of them is Ray. So I want to say thank you to Ray. Another person I'd like to thank again, because she also helped me a great deal, and she's still helping me, and it's Mel. Melanie has been helping me with writing my book, and if it wasn't for her, I would have stopped a long time ago. Another person there, which I must mention, because she brings a lot of happiness when she calls me from time to time, and that's Sue Isaac. Thank you, Sue. You're really a very nice person to listen to. There's a couple other people I would like to thank very much. Jane is doing probably a very good job, and Lisa is head of education, has also been helping a great deal because she's managed to get me to speak to a couple of schools. So to all of these people, it's important that you realize that really I'm telling you the truth now. If it wasn't for all of you, I would not be here. That's all really I want to say at this stage. Thanks to everybody.
Yes, next year I hope everything will be okay. We'll be in Jewish Holocaust Center again, and we see each other, and we see the lectures there, and we'll be very happy again. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to be together again, but unfortunately it can't be yet. But I hope we will be meeting soon at the new museum that's being prepared now. My year started rather badly because I finished up in hospital in mid-February and stayed there for 1 month till mid-March. Then we got into lockdown, which really didn't bother me. I was quite happy to stay at home. First of all, I did about at least 20 Zoom sessions with students, including one to Darwin and 2 to Sydney. Well, I hope that next year we'll be able to work face-to-face with students, and this is the thing that I missed this year, and also meet all the survivors and guides together. Okay, hope to see you all next year. Bye.
Hi, everybody. I really have missed you all, not being able to come to the center every Wednesday and to be in contact with the students and all the educators there. And I really look forward to the day when I can come back to the Holocaust Center, if I'm not getting too old, and to join the whole lot of you again.
Hi, everybody who is listening in. I miss all of you. I miss my duties at the Holocaust Center. And I trust and hope that within not too long a period, I'll be able to do what I've been doing for at least 22 years or something. So it's a good slice of my life, but I've been doing it with well, pleasure doesn't sound the right word, but I'm happy that I'm able to somewhat help the mission of the Holocaust Center, the Holocaust Museum.
And now we're going to hear from Pauline Rockman and Sue Hample, our co-presidents.
Good morning. I hope I can be heard and seen. Shalom, Baruch Habayim. It's amazing to just have that little taste of seeing you, some of you survivors already. Missed you greatly. And on behalf of my co-president Sue and the board of the Jewish Holocaust Center, we welcome you to our very different 2020 end of year morning tea. I wish to acknowledge on behalf of all of us, the ancestors, elders and families of the Bunwarran and the Kulin Nation people, the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, albeit virtually. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and acknowledge and uphold their continuing relationship to this land. And at the same time, I wish to acknowledge our elders, Nitzolei HaShoah, our survivors. JHC purpose. As we commence 2020, who could have imagined how it was going to unfold? At the JHC, we started off with these amazing plans, which were temporarily leaving Selwyn Street, relocation, leaving where had been our home since 1984. And then in March, the pandemic struck and we couldn't even have a farewell event. We just retreated to our homes. And we've heard much about the effects and ramifications of our most extraordinary year, one full of challenges, particularly difficult for many of our survivors. And yet we have come through. Through the extraordinary efforts of Jane Josem and her team, the Holocaust Center continued and indeed expanded its virtual services and programs. In March, the board embarked on a most ambitious journey. Yes, we're building a new museum, but we also need to create a structure and a board and everything else that goes with it into the future. And this slide is JHC's purpose. We have our mission statement. This is our purpose. And I will list together with Sue our priorities that we came up working together in March at our strategic planning workshop. And it's indeed a powerful indication of our future direction and commitment. Our first slide, retain the voices of survivors and impact of the Holocaust into the future. We're doing this, encouraged and propelled by COVID. And this, our first priority, is our very essence. It is retaining the voice of our survivors well into the future. And in our online education work, and by making sure we have our survivors' voices, we are preserving and collecting their testimonies. We are collecting their artifacts. So in the future, it'll be our Melbourne survivors' voices that are going to endure, so that their stories will be told, and we will continue to play an important part in the ongoing impact of how the Holocaust will be impacting on future generations. By investing in technology, our programs like Ask a Survivor, and Understanding Through Testimony are working to achieve these goals. Second slide. Our next priority is to establish and utilize strategic alliances, partnerships, and media presence. We are broadening our horizons, becoming involved with more organizations on the local, national, and international level. This is to ensure we have a greater impact through collaboration. The Holocaust Centre played a significant role in Australia becoming a member of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, the IRA. And we are spearheading the first national online event of Holocaust Remembrance Day, which will be January the 27th, 2021, which you'll all get information about. Through our government's initiative to create Holocaust museums throughout Australia, we've worked closely with Adelaide and Brisbane, and now with Perth, in the establishment and refurbishment of their Holocaust museums. In Melbourne, we work closely with the Victorian government, particularly the Education Department, in having Holocaust on the curriculum. And we work with the ACJC, with Kadima, and looking forward to the establishment of the precinct where the Jewish Museum will be our neighbour, all making Selwyn Street a very exciting destination. And I'd like to hand over to my co-president.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Pauline. I'd like to add my welcome to you all, our JHC community, and it's really nice to see you all, and it won't be long until we can meet again face to face. Nelson Mandela famously said, "Education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world." And this quote could have been written for the Jewish Holocaust Centre, as we are working to lead the development of state and national Holocaust education, our third priority. From the state level, the amazing Lisa has worked tirelessly with the Victorian Education Department to develop world-class resources, lessons, and teaching plans for Year 9 and 10 history teachers. I was fortunate to be on the working committees, and I can assure you that no other state has such a comprehensive set of supports for its teachers on the topic of the Holocaust. There are over 280 resources, diary extracts, documents, interactive exhibitions, but best of all, the materials are based on our collection at the Jewish Holocaust Centre. So congratulations, Lisa. I've been appointed the chair of the Education Working Group of the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, IRA, for 2021. So I'm looking forward to represent our centre on an international level at this important forum, and it'll be exciting to share the work that we are doing on a global stage. Our fourth priority is to build and operationalise a world-class museum. That's the fourth one. Yes. Slide 4. Is it on? How do you build a world-class Holocaust museum? Well, you need a lot of building blocks, starting with an incredible fundraising team led brilliantly by Helen Maimoff and Phil Lewis, followed by our super dynamic project team led by Paul Keegan and Alan Sinman, and finally, a dedicated staff led by the indomitable Jane Josem. In Jane's December report to the board, she quoted famous football coach Vince Lombardi. He stated that the price of success is hard work, dedication to the job, and the determination to apply ourselves to the task at hand. And to me, this quote epitomises the staff at our centre. It has certainly been a challenging year for everyone, and in particular, as Jane said, our survivors. We faced 3 major challenges this year, all in the midst of a pandemic and stage 4 restrictions, moving from Selwyn Street into our temporary home in East Malvern, packing up 36 years of memories, collections and archives, transforming our education programs into meaningful, virtual, award-winning learning experiences, and supporting our survivors, volunteers and staff. We can look back and be so proud as to how the JHC team handled these difficult issues. Pauline and I, together with our entire board, are in awe of the centre's achievements. We really do appreciate everything that you have done. Your commitment and passion and drive will enable us to build a world-class Holocaust museum. And finally to Jane, the captain of our ship, who has managed to steer our centre through a challenging 2020. She's remained calm and stayed the course. Jane, we are grateful for your devotion and tireless energy, and we wish you a relaxing break away from Zoom. Wishing you all a happy Hanukkah, and I'd like to hand back to Pauline for our last slide.
Come on. Okay. So we're also building a high-performing board with skills and experience to deliver on that purpose, on the purpose with the priorities we've shown you today. In March, the board worked diligently to create a strategic plan, a blueprint for guiding the JHC in the future. New building, new priorities, as I have outlined. And I want to take this opportunity on behalf of Sue and myself to acknowledge and commend the board directors on their work and their ongoing commitment in these times. We kept our schedule, meeting by Zoom throughout, and we're now in the process of implementing this important strategic plan. This year, through the pandemic, we welcomed 3 new board directors, Mike Dubinsky, Professor George Breakberg, and Simon Schwartz. They are proving a great asset to the centre as we work to this strategic plan. We farewelled Board Director David Cohen this year after his 11-year service as Vice President and former Treasurer. His involvement has been much valued in the areas of finance, operations, innovation and vision. And we also acknowledge and commend the incredible work of Jane and her team. Their output and incredible achievements throughout this period, very challenging, and they're greatly appreciated. And I feel very proud of all the work undertaken at the JHC as we grow from strength to strength, and our dreams of a new world-class museum are fast becoming a reality. I don't have to tell you that we have plans, and then I'll be able to talk about them someday soon, because they're really happening now, thanks to all of you, thanks to all your hard work and our dreams and aspirations. And although things are a little different this year, what is constant is the amazing support of all of you, of all our survivors, our staff, our volunteer, and our donors, and the passion and the desire to enact the legacy of those who came before us. In the words of Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, Zichron Lebracha, we are as great as the challenges we have the courages to undertake. I'm looking forward to seeing you all face to face in 2021. Kol hakavod to all of you. Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Desiree Maltz. I'm a Year 6 teacher at Masada College in Sydney. I just wanted to thank all the staff and volunteers at the Jewish Holocaust Centre in Melbourne. Each year in Year 6 at Masada College, we run what we call the Living Historians program. This is an opportunity for our Year 6 students before they embark on their high school journey to hear from survivors of the Holocaust. This year, due to COVID, I was unsure whether that would actually eventuate. And I'm really thrilled and proud to say that the only reason it did eventuate is because of the platform that the Jewish Holocaust Centre put online. The program at Masada College this year was, I'd say, the most successful program ever. We started off by using your Digibook platform, and the children went through the series of Digibooks, getting a bit of background to the Holocaust. We then had a session with Sue and Mel who facilitated an outstanding introduction to the Holocaust for our students once again. And then we went on to meet Andy and Paul, the survivors. And those are stories that we will continue to keep very close to our hearts. And I know that our children and the teachers feel that they are now the custodians of these stories and the next generation to pass these stories on. So as you can hear, without your organisation, this program would not have happened in our COVID world. We thank you so much, and we are truly the biggest supporters of the Jewish Holocaust Centre. A happy holidays to you all and a happy Hanukkah. Thank you.
My name is Jay Maltz, and I am in Year 6 at Masada College. I stand here today knowing that Andy Factor and Paul Grinwald's names will never be forgotten, along with all the other Holocaust survivors. The Living Historians program has been the best thing that's ever happened to me in my primary school years. Due to COVID, I anxiously waited to find out whether the program would actually happen, and thanks to the Jewish Holocaust Center, my teacher was able to put on the most memorable program for me. The survivors have taught me many life lessons, such as being free is not a privilege, but a right. I should be grateful for the small things, be grateful that I have a family, and always try and look at the glass half full instead of empty. Kindness and empathy are two important character traits that I will always try to display. These lessons have taught me to be proud of my heritage, and I know that I am the next generation to pass on the stories of the Holocaust.
Despite the difficult year that we've had and the difficult times, it was wonderful for the students to be able to connect with the Jewish Holocaust Centre and with the survivor whom they met. That was just a terrific experience for them. And it's something without Zoom and without the technology we wouldn't have been able to do. So it was great that the Jewish Holocaust Centre was prepared to work with that, to work within the limitations and that we had. It still worked really well. The students were able to connect beautifully with the speakers and really take a lot from the experience. So it was just, it worked really well. So thank you very, very much for what you did for us.
Okay, we're here with two Our Lady of Mercy College students from Heidelberg, Amy and Daisy, and we're asking them the question, what did the incursion with the Jewish Holocaust Centre mean to you, especially this year where COVID impacted so much?
I think it's really important that we learnt about Guta's story, especially being one of the last generations with Holocaust survivors, and it's really inspirational to hear her story.
I thought it was very heartwarming just to see someone that has gone through such a horrific time in history, and just to see how Guta has, come out of it, and there's positives to it, and she's been able to live her life to the fullest.
We're back. That's a hard act to follow. Amazing testimonies from students and teachers. And I now have the challenge of sharing my screen and presenting some highlights of this year. So, okay, so I'm going to attempt an overview of this year. I'm sure I'll leave things out, so I apologise in advance, but this is my best shot. Where is my arrow? Here we go. So we started the year, who remembers this? I mean, in January, our thoughts were all on the bushfires. We, in fact, at the JHC raised money for bushfire relief and planned our International Holocaust Remembrance Day event, which was the 75th year anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. So there's a beautiful photo and a bit of a collage of that incredible event where Eva Slonim gave amazing testimony. Academic Christian Zulke visited from Germany and gave a lecture on the Sonderkommando in Auschwitz-Birkenau. We also worked with Kadima to bring Joseph Sherman's play Last Words to life. It was a really powerful performance about memory. Then in February, Holocaust education in years 9 to 10 became mandatory. It was a historic moment, and we eagerly awaited what would happen next for us. As Pauline and Sue have alluded, the JHC Board of Directors underwent a strategic planning exercise, and I really want to thank the board at this point for their support throughout this challenging year. They've been so supportive and grateful of all of our hard work. They refreshed our purpose, and this year we were called to act upon our mission in a way we never expected. Our last face-to-face program was delivered ominously on Friday, the 13th of March. The following week, COVID forced us to close our doors. As museum director, this was one of the most challenging moments I have faced. It was a surreal day when everyone packed up. We sent everyone home with a few rolls of toilet paper as a sweetener. At this stage, no one knew that this was going to be for most of the year. Amongst my possessions, I found this Jewish community crisis management book. There was no section on pandemics. We were without a roadmap. And the hardest part of closing our doors was saying goodbye to our volunteers, and especially our survivors. We were all concerned for their health and well-being. We immediately set up Survivor Connect to enable the public to send messages to survivors to let them know that their words and their lessons were still being heard. And our team adjusted to the new reality of working from home, connecting via Zoom and supporting each other in strange new ways. Our focus was firmly on our mission to educate about the Holocaust, and this purpose sustained us all. One of our first challenges in April was how to commemorate as a community when we were all isolated. We put our heads together and found some ways. Coronavirus was not going to stop us. We put on a broadcast on J-Air, JCCV put content online, and we combined with Launchpad to create a Zoom gathering across 3 generations, featuring our own Jennifer Levitt-Maxwell and survivor Philip Maisel. In June, there was that brief window of freedom, and our board gathered for a spatially distant annual general meeting, another very special moment in our history. So our priority this year was to support educators teaching the Holocaust remotely. So we began developing virtual learning with a suite of offerings. We created an e-newsletter to talk directly to the teachers. So thanks to the education team, capably led by Lisa Phillips, for this incredible output under trying conditions in a short space of time. And also to Jennifer Levitt-Maxwell and Robbie Simons for their support of everything that we delivered. The virtual museum, with numerous stations for exploration of artefacts, for photos and survivor stories that many, many schools and students are exploring, and others as well. Ask a Survivor, the project which had been in development for years, suddenly became urgent. So the team threw all their energy into creating this engaging interactive, which encourages student-led inquiry. Although created under less than ideal conditions, this interactive was highly commended at the recent Museum Australia Publication and Design Awards, was a finalist in the Japan Prize, and took out this month the Victorian Museum and Galleries Award just last week. So congratulations to all. And in all our education, it's survivor voices that are central. So we created Understanding Through Testimony to showcase extracts of testimony in a thematic display. The students couldn't come to us, so we went to them virtually, even bringing survivors along, which was greatly appreciated by the students. So thanks to all the survivors, special thanks to all the survivors who were able to master the technology and join us online in 2020. It was an incredible effort. We kept reaching far and wide, one highlight being presenting a session to a school in Darwin, and we want to thank everyone for all their hard work to enable this to happen. Following the announcement earlier in the year that Holocaust education would be mandatory, we began working intensively with personnel at the Department of Education and other specialist Holocaust educators to help put together the best resources and curriculum for Holocaust education in Victoria. Congratulations again to Lisa Phillips for her tireless efforts as co-chair of the expert working group, working with the Department of Education and all of these community collaborators. And throughout it all, we've kept in touch with survivors at home, calling them and celebrating birthdays wherever possible. So let's hear from our survivors again.
Hi everyone, how are you all? I hope you're all well, more or less. And I miss the Holocaust very much. It's my second home, really. And I hope and pray that I can start again. I lost my 2 front teeth, and that is a disaster. And you know the song what I told my children. When I came to Australia, there was a song, Crocodile. All I want for Christmas are my 2 front teeth. And that's what I need. And I hope and pray that one day I can go and talk again to the children. In my opinion, it's more important than ever. I wish you all a healthy and a good Hanukkah. And let's hope and pray that we get out of this. We are still the best country in the world. And I thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody knows who's talking. Joe DeHaan. I miss the center enormously. I miss my gym, but thank God a few days ago my gym has opened, certain days, certain time. So that's fantastic. And I'm looking forward to going back there. I miss the center a lot, you guys, everybody. Anyway, God willing, we will be in the temporary place soon. And I'm looking forward to have the kids again, the school kids. I know I leave a good message with them. And I think it's a very important part of my life.
Hello, everyone. My name is Guta Goldstein, and I'm just going to, I'm glad to see you all. I can't see it actually on the computer, but most probably you can see me. So I hope that you have survived the lockup, all in good health. It has been a strange time as we celebrated Pesach and Rosh Hashanah and Mother's Day on Zoom. But now I think we are very lucky to live in the country that we live in, that we still had food to eat, that we had all our comforts and all our family with us to help us through it. Well, I kept busy knitting. I knitted a very nice little jumper for my granddaughter. Would you like to see it? Yes, of course. It's my jumper. I don't know if you can see it. Right. That's for a little granddaughter, Libby, who was born just before the lockup. She was 2 weeks old, and I wasn't allowed to touch her. Now she's 9 months old, and now we have to get reacquainted because she doesn't know me. She just stares and smiles, but she doesn't know who I am. And I want to thank Ray, who every Friday rang me, and we had a wonderful, interesting chats. And I was always looking forward to them. So that was lovely. Thank you very much, Ray. You kept me going on a Friday. Well, that's more or less it. I wish you all a happy Hanukkah and a very good year, next year of the year 2021, for good health and a better one than this year. Thank you.
Hi, everybody at the Holocaust Center. I hope we're going to be soon together. I've been sitting in the sun for a while, and I've been playing cards with my partner. And now I started to write a book about my life. And hopefully that the Holocaust Center is going to make a bit of money on it, because I don't want anything. I want the Holocaust money. Everything goes to the Holocaust Center. And that's about all.
Hello, Holocaust. It's Rosa. I miss you very much.
I wish you a good year.
Now, I don't speak because Holocaust Center is being built and we had COVID and everything went upside down. But I do miss the Holocaust Center very much because my best friends. I am on a Monday team, and the Monday team, all the girls and men who were there with me are all my friends, and I do miss them, and I hope that very soon they will need me again.
Sorry, probably like me, I hope you've got some tissues handy because it's very emotional hearing from our wonderful survivors. So I shall attempt to carry on here. Here we go. So with everyone at home, it was amazing to be able to provide our supporters with two incredible issues to read. The lockdown did not impact on the quality of the Centre News. So thanks to our Editor Supreme, Ruth Mushin, and to everyone involved in getting this publication out. It's a massive team effort. To support the child survivors of the Holocaust, the Jewish Holocaust Centre has been reworking the child survivors page on our website, as well as continuing to support the Connections mail out. So we thank Viv Parry and her team for their continued work with the child survivors group. All our events became online. We first presented a series called From the Vault, where we represented some past lectures over the past few decades. And then Sue and Fanny ran a series of workshops with the guides. Finally, our Rosencrantz Oration also had to become an online event. Not the same, but we adjusted and we managed. And then throughout it all, we had the big pack of the JHC, a very small but dedicated crew packed up. Anna Hirsch, our senior archivist, was assisted by Constance in handling the art and the artefacts, and with a special thanks to Estelle Rosen for her pillows. Julia Reichstein managed all the books, and with a smile, as you can see there, while Robbie Simons and Jasmine organised the testimonies and AV material. Meanwhile, Lana Zucker helped our Chief Operating Officer, Laura Ettingold, to pack up the entire rest of the 30+ year collection material that we had collected. And I just took photos while all of this was going on. We were assisted by conservation and art removalist experts to carefully pack up the JHC building, museum and collections during lockdown, and it was quite a feat. Packing up the Treblinka model was incredible to witness as they documented every inch of the model to pull it apart and so that we can put it back together in the new museum following some conservation treatment which it will undergo. Removing the pillars of witness was quite a challenge. It will be reinstated in the new building, but it's going to be in its own very dedicated garden of the pillars of witness. And I hope you enjoy the booklet that we have sent all of you as a memento of the pillars being on the front of the building. So I want to thank the entire team and all the experts who assisted this precious task. It was challenging enough, but COVID just added layer upon layer upon layer of challenges of not having people who wanted to help able to come and help us. And then the redevelopment commenced properly. I want to thank our project control group, especially the board directors, Paul Keegan, Phil Lewis, for their efforts in managing this project, and capably supported by leading Melbourne architect Alan Sinman. Many of you, I'm sure, are driving past and watching this unfold. And finally, we achieved that milestone, turning the sod. And I felt there was no one better than Avi, who had buried material under the Lodge ghetto, to hold the shovel on behalf of all the survivors at this point. And I want to thank our Capital Campaign co-chairs, Helen Maymoff and Phil Lewis, for their extraordinary efforts to get us to this point, to have the finances to be able to build this dream. So we are excited about the future for Holocaust education in our significantly enhanced building, and we thank you all for your support and encouragement on this journey. Of course, more will be revealed next year about the new museum. So we've got an incredible team working behind the scenes on this new museum: curator Sandy Saxon, assistant curator Gavin O'Connor, and creative director of multimedia Ulrich Dibble. They have not stopped through COVID, but have been working hard remotely to finalise the concept design. Thanks to our museum committee as well, including co-president Sue Hampel and Deakin academic Steve Cook. And we're creating a special museum for younger audiences, telling the stories of child survivors. So Jennifer Levitt-Maxwell, our engagement manager, has been working with Lisa Phillips and myself to develop a concept design for this special space. We cannot wait to share this with you next week. So thanks to everyone involved who's contributed in 2020, an extraordinary effort in an extraordinary year. Before, I'm going to stop sharing, and before, Robbie, before you play the next screen, I just want to say with each year comes the difficult but important task of remembering those who have been taken from us. This year was an especially challenging one, with the passing of 4 very special women, 3 of whom I worked closely with, Floris Kalman, Maria Lewitt and Eva Marks, and also Claire Weiss. And many of you did not know Claire, but I always remember every time I walked through the centre and she would be at the front desk and she would always say, "And how are your girls?" Claire was a survivor volunteer for many years who did not want to talk to the students. This year when COVID first appeared, I decided to mail the centre news out with a personal card, Pesach greeting card to the survivors. And although Clara had stopped volunteering for quite a few years, when I saw her name on this list, I wrote her a card and dropped it in. And she sent me a scrawly handwritten letter that said, "Thanks for remembering me," which was very special to me because I think, how could we forget you? So please let us just take a few minutes to remember these special women who've worked alongside us and truly inspired us.
And once again, when you speak with students, and this is my function here, to speak, to communicate with students, for the young people of today to understand what it is, how we lived, what happened to us. If they are complaining that, their school is not large enough, if they are complaining that the uniform, I don't like it, I want to wear it or not, I want them to know how it was in 2 generations back. I usually ask students, how many of you have grandparents born in Australia? And you would be surprised. Schools which come here day in, day out, from Catholic schools, government schools, private schools, and so on, that they listen to us. They listen to a person like me with my pronunciation, I am glad that I could understand me, and I want them to know, how it was. It is important.
I feel that it's very important for me to be doing this. One reason is that I feel it's important for young people to understand how a child's experience was different from that of an adult, and how children were affected. And it's very important for me somehow to talk about this experience, and so I really appreciate that you are listening to me.
During the war, I never
harmed anybody, meaning, you know, I never stole anybody's rations and like some people did, or hurt anybody. But it was some good luck, I suppose, and other circumstances why I survived. And I think by doing something against racism and things like that, I think I'm paying, in a way, homage to the people that were killed.
Okay. So now I'd like to take an opportunity to thank my team. So let me see if I can find, there we go. So I want to thank my staff. I'm so proud of this team and how they've worked under pressure in isolation and remotely. This year during COVID, 3 new staff members joined us. Can you imagine how challenging that must have been? Over the last few years, we've had quite a few new faces, so I thought it best to take the opportunity to introduce you to everyone again. Some of whom you know, some you don't. So of course there's me, you know, but my new EA, who many of you may have interacted with, is the wonderful Nav. Our operations team, headed by Laura Ettingold, includes Finance Manager Roy John, Daniel Feldman, who most of you know, Admin Support Officers Georgina, Alexander and Karen Mixad, and of course, you all know Ray. She needs no introduction. We've also been assisted by Claire Jordan on special projects and Lana Zuka, who did an amazing job supporting the role on the move, in a supporting role on the move. Our engagement team, now headed by Jennifer Levitt-Maxwell, includes Robbie Simons, our digital media producer, doing a sterling job today, and Evelyn Portek, our communication and events officer, and another new fresh face is Laurel Lake, our grants and partnership manager. Our museum team is headed by Sandy Saxon, Senior Curator, Gavin O'Connor, Curatorial Assistant to the Museum Project, and Creative Director for Multimedia, Arik Dibble. Our collections team are very well known, Dr. Anna Hirsch, our Senior Archivist, and Julia Reichstein, our Librarian and Information Manager. The education team, who most of you know, headed by Lisa Phillips, has 3 educators that most of you do know, Melanie Attar, Fanny Hoffman and Sue Isaacs, and they were joined mid-year by Education Program Manager Tracy Colley, someone who we will all get to know, all of our educators next year. I also want to acknowledge and thank a couple of outgoing staff, educator Anati Livnat, and of course our marketing manager, Danielle Camion. So usually at these events, I will stop sharing. Usually at these events, we honour volunteers for their efforts, but I really think this year, with the challenges of COVID and how this team has responded, I want to take the opportunity to honour them. And I could single out so many members of this team, and I already have mentioned quite a few, but it really is always a team effort. But I think I just want to take this opportunity on behalf of all of the volunteers especially to thank Ray for her absolutely incredible efforts this year. I think she deserves a special round of applause for her tireless efforts. And I don't know if I can do this. I was going to try and ask everyone to unmute and give Ray a round of applause and all my team for their efforts this year.
Yay.
You need to hear the applause.
Well done, Ray.
Now,
Ray.
Well done. So as the formalities come to an end, I want to thank you all for your kind words and kind words of support along the way. They mean a lot. I can tell you honestly that this year I have felt truly blessed. Everything we have achieved has brought me joy in spite of all the hardships and the challenges along the way. It's been a most trying and exhausting year, and many of us have worked harder than we've ever worked before. We've really missed connecting with you all. And I'm here alone in the office. Many of you are alone in your rooms, but yet by some magic we are connected. So let's keep both the surreal connection going on as well as the real one, hopefully next year. And never forget that we're all part of this amazing JHC community. Before we go to the breakout rooms, we've got a final series of messages from survivors.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to talk to you all, and I wishing you a good end of the year, and all the best for next year. And I hope to see you, everyone, in person very soon. Well, I'm all right. I was busy all those months. I was talking to schools. I was on the meeting on Zoom. And I spent the time. It was not always the same, but well, it's past. And I hope the next month and the next 2 years, when the center will be built, I will feel the same. And I hope the same will all of you will be in good health, and we will see each other soon. I love you all. I miss you, and let's hope when we met in good health.
Hi everybody, I'm very happy to speak to you today. Now that the COVID restrictions are somehow relieved, we are and now at a stage where we can sort of move more freely. But one thing that occurs to me today is what happened to me from the past 3 years when I started connecting with the Holocaust Center. I would like to tell you that my early experiences I kept very secretly, but my connection to the Holocaust Center gave me a release. In other words, I felt then that I should tell young people particularly of my experiences under discrimination. So I would like to tell you, my experience at the Holocaust Center has made a different person out of me. The camaraderie that exists there with people that had probably far more serious experiences than I had, have been very encouraging to me, because these people are the ones who make a difference to my life. I am very much involved with the Holocaust Center now, and it has given me a new lease of life. So I would like to wish you all, whoever is listening to me, a very, very happy Hanukkah, firstly, and also all the very best for the new year.
Hello, everybody. I know it's a bad time, the virus around us, but that's not the end of the world. You have to be positive and do whatever you can. I try to keep busy. I work in the garden, I do exercise, I go swimming. Unfortunately, now that I broke my wrist, I can't do much. But still, people are in the worse position than I am. I miss very much the Holocaust Museum and being in contact with the students. And I hope that soon we'll be able to come back. I hope to be soon face to face with the people that I miss. Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone.
Hi, it's Ivan, and I wish you all a very good year.
Hello, and I'm very happy to see you, and I'm looking forward to see all my children in the Holocaust Center and be able to speak to them to tell my life story.
Hi, everybody. Nice to be able to talk to you. Basically, we survived the lock-up. For me, as a Holocaust survivor, it wasn't very difficult to survive. But the most important thing happened just recently. I was approached by Macmillan publishers to write a book about my experiences, and it would take 40 to 60 hours to produce the book, which may appear sometimes in August next year. Proceeds, which I will get from the book, I will donate to the Holocaust Center, naturally. The main thing is, as Robbie sometimes said, you have to love the work which you are doing. And the Holocaust Center offered me the possibility, the chance to collect testimonies and fulfill the promise which I made many years ago to my friends in the dark moments of the Holocaust. What else is rather important, that the work which I was doing, I wasn't doing by myself. I had a team of dedicated people who helped me to collect the testimonies. And I'm really grateful for all these people who helped me to achieve what I did.